Hello everyone, we're back for our next read aloud today. Today we're going to be getting to read about one of my favorite people, Sakakawea. This book is by Kitson Jazinka. Explore one of the most recognized figures in American history with this biography of Sakakawea. A truly inspirational person. One of the biggest reasons for some of our growth and expansion of the United States as we continued westward. So just an incredibly important person in history. While reading this book, we're going to focus on these goals. Remember that we always have two goals, a reading goal and a social studies goal. You can read the reading goal with me and I can determine, ready? I can determine or figure out the main idea of a text and key details for support. So we're trying to figure out or determine the main idea and key details. So like those, and remember a main idea is like a one sentence big idea. The key details are the most important facts. Now, while we're doing this, we actually also are focusing on this goal. Can read it with me. I can ask and answer questions about the key details in a book. This is a really big comprehension strategy. While you are reading, it's so important to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself wondering kinds of things. Trying to seek out like the big key details. We're going to use that to do our social studies goal. Can read it with me. I can explain how specific or certain people have done important actions or things to help change the world around them in history. Any of those past events, definitely things that Sakakawea did.
National Geographic.
Now you're going to notice this is one of the read-to-me's. So this is one you can go back and read yourself. But this also is a really long book, so I'm not going to be reading the whole thing today. I'm more so going to be using this to get you interested in Sakakawea. Hopefully you will want to read it yourself. We're going to go to school, Going to show you what our graphic organizer looks like today. Wrong one here. Okay, so when you open this up, it's the ask and answer questions and notability. Okay. So once you get this open, send it to notability. Blue, create new note. Top right corner, hit import. Up on the top, going to write my name. All right. Now, before I do any reading today, I'm actually going to ask myself a question. Now you're going to see on this skill sheet here, it's a 3-column note taker. The first column is reading time. So before reading, during reading, or during after reading. The middle column is where you're going to write down a question, and the last column is where you're going to write down an answer. Down on the bottom, we have the different question sentence starters, like why did, why didn't, why is, why do you think, why did the author, or these are like answer sentence starters. One page blank, it said, or the author said, or the visual showed, and visual means picture. So before I even start reading, I'm just going to write down this question. Her name's correct here. So my first question just is, why should we remember Sakakawea? Now, that's one question. Now, each of these boxes, you only have to do one question and then you write an answer. You can always write down more than one, though. I love seeing you thinking if you can do more than one. So now I am actually going to do one more. Where did she live? I'm just kind of curious, it's as we're learning about, when you're doing biographies, you get to learn about a lot of those kinds of things. But so why should we remember Sakakawea and where did she live? So while I'm reading, I'm going to be thinking about those two answers. If I find an answer, I can come and answer that. But I'm also going to be thinking about some questions during reading and then during or after reading. But remember, you have to have at least one question in each box and then an answer. So let's get started.
National Geographic.
So, Sakakawea. Who was Sakakawea? Sakakawea was a young Native American woman. She traveled by boat and on foot for more than 2,600 miles. She and other courageous explorers camped for more than a year among wild animals like grizzly bears, buffalo, cougars, and wolves. During that expedition across the United States in the early 1800s, Sakakawea helped make history. In words to know, expedition, just a really long journey. Growing up Shoshone, Sakakawea was a brave explorer. Not much else is known about her life, but historians believe she was born around 1790. Her village, in present-day Idaho, sat in the harsh Rocky Mountains. It was not easy for her Shoshone or Snake Indian people to find food. As a nomadic tribe, and nomadic means you move to find food or like shelter, places to live, the Shoshone Indians moved between homes to hunt buffalo, wild sheep, salmon, and squirrel. Sakakawea collected berries, seeds, acorns, and even grasshoppers to help provide food for her family. So words to know: historian, a person who studies history; nomadic, moving around in search of food. So the Shoshone people dug up the roots of camas flowers for food. And right here, Sakakewea's village was near the Salmon River in present-day Idaho. So I'm going back to my question. So one of my questions was, where did she live? Well, I'm going to write this. One of the places where her tribe did live, I'm going to say in present-day Idaho, near the Rocky Mountains on the Salmon River. Cool. And when it says present-day Idaho, what that means is that when she was living there, Idaho was not a state yet. Eventually it would become a state, but it wasn't then. When Sakakawea was about 10 years old, a war party from another tribe attacked her family. Young Hidatsa warriors, out to prove their bravery captured Sakakawea. They took her to live in their village more than 800 miles away. It must have been like moving to a foreign city. The Hidatsa lived in villages along the Knife River in present-day North Dakota. Thousands of people from different tribes lived together. Tree trunks held up large dome-shaped homes. People spoke different languages, grew crops, and traded furs, buffalo skins, and horses. So very different because the Hidatsa were not nomadic. They stayed there all the time. They were able to find enough food, grow enough food to live there, so they didn't have to move a lot. The drawing of the Hidatsa warriors on horseback appears on a painted robe made from buffalo skin. And the Hidatsa people lived in dome-shaped homes like this one. So I'm going to have to change this, because where else did she live? Well, she actually moved then. Not by choice, because she was taken. By another tribe to live in. Again, North Dakota was not a state at this time, but that's where she was taken. Along the Knife River. Always going back and rereading things. I'm kind of rereading as I'm writing. Okay. So, I already have that answer. I'm kind of still thinking about questions here because I know I'm going to try to get some during reading questions, but I'm going to keep reading though. In the Knife River villages, Sakakawea survived by learning a new way of life. She learned a new language. She tended fields in the spring and harvested corn, squash, beans, and prairie turnips in the summer and fall. She made pottery. She watched ceremonies with dancing, colorful clothing, and music. People in this village celebrated many things, such as the harvest and the return of birds that had flown south for the winter. That's a fact. At a historical site in North Dakota, you can visit the village where Sakakawea lived after she was kidnapped. It is true. I have been there before. It's a very cool place. This model shows what the inside of a Hidatsa home looked like. Ooh, okay. Next section, a fur trader's wife. When Sakakawea was about 15 years old, she married Toussaint Charbonneau. He was a French-Canadian fur trader. As a fur trader's wife, Sakakawea met traders from around the world. She even traded on her own for beads, silver, and cloth. Soon she prepared to have a baby. So fox furs there. Traders would often meet at posts to trade. This art shows a trading post in Canada. Okay, I am going to stop here though, because I have some questions I'm kind of wondering about now, some things I'm thinking about. So when I come back, I'm going to show you what one of my questions were, but I want you thinking about your questions right now before the next video.